Every year, the gaming world hands out its awards, fills up its top 10 lists, and crowns its champions. And every year, the same big names dominate every conversation. But here's what nobody talks about. For every game that wins Game of the Year, there are dozens of brilliant, creative, absolutely stunning games that got completely ignored. No review coverage, no word of mouth, no second chance. Just incredible work from passionate developers that the algorithm buried and the mainstream media forgot. And honestly, that's not okay. Some of the most unique gameplay, the most powerful stories, and the most creative worlds in gaming history are sitting in games most people have never even heard of. Today, we're changing that. These are 20 underrated games that deserved so much more attention than they ever got, and it's never too late to give it to them. Let's go.
Ubisoft makes a lot of open-world games, so it's easy to see why Immortals Fenyx Rising went under the radar. You're Phoenix, a warrior taking on gods in a beautiful Greek mythology-inspired world. The art style is gorgeous, the puzzles are clever, combat is satisfying, the humor is excellent with witty dialogue between narrator and protagonist. The world is massive, the climbing and exploration are rewarding. This game deserved mainstream attention. Genuinely fantastic adventure. A hidden gem that didn't get nearly enough attention. Tinykin is both a supremely polished and delightful love letter to platformers of the N64 era. It's also a smart riff on Nintendo's Pikmin series that sees you recruiting an army of little alien creatures to help you solve puzzles and large open levels. You're Milo, a tiny creature in a human apartment building collecting adorable aliens called Tinykin. The platforming is tight and satisfying. The puzzle design is clever, requiring Pikmin-style coordination. The art style is gorgeous and charming. The controls are responsive. The soundtrack is delightful. This game released during a crowded year and got completely overlooked. It's proof that the best games sometimes have zero marketing. If you love platformers or Pikmin, this is mandatory. Absolutely criminally underrated gem that deserves a massive cult following.
Across its story, sound design, and entire artistic vision, South of Midnight is a gem of a game. While its combat loop is repetitive, the design behind it is substantial. Ultimately, Compulsion Games created a love letter to the South, to its beauty and its stories. You're Hazel Flood navigating a southern gothic fantasy world after a hurricane. The stop-motion animation is unique and beautiful. The soundtrack is incredible, the voice acting is phenomenal, the story explores trauma and hope. This 2025 Xbox exclusive deserves more attention.
After launching Rise of the Tomb Raider in 2015, Crystal Dynamics passed development to Eidos Montreal for the sequel, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider delivered a darker, more personal, and extremely violent conclusion to Lara Croft's origin story. Lara's final adventure is brutal and emotional. The jungle is gorgeous. The tombs are intricate. The story explores colonialism and archaeology ethics. The climbing and puzzles are satisfying. The action is intense. This closing chapter deserved more love. Fantastic conclusion.
Even though Like a Dragon gets its fair share of credit, this game deserves a lot more. After all, it's one of the quirkiest, most heartwarming games of the past generation, full of memorable characters, well-written dialogue, and a story that will make you shed tears. You're Ichiban Kasuga, a Yakuza gang member with heart. The game shifts from action to turn-based RPG combat. The minigames are absurdly fun. The character interactions are phenomenal. The humor is excellent. The story is genuinely moving. This game deserved mainstream recognition. Play it.
2024's Alone in the Dark absolutely deserves a chance as a modern survival horror game. It does an incredible job with sound design, particularly with jump scares and document voiceovers, and the jazz soundtrack builds that noir horror atmosphere. David Harbour and Jodie Comer give outstanding performances. The mansion is haunted.
The atmosphere is oppressive. The story is creepy. The puzzles are clever. The survival horror vibe is genuinely unsettling. This released during a crowded year and got lost, but it's phenomenal. If you love horror, play this. One of the best RPGs in recent memory, deserving to blow up like Skyrim with actual love in general. The learning curve is famously steep, but once you invest in the game's systems, there are few titles as immersive, interesting, and rewarding. Set in 1403 Bohemia during actual historical civil war, you're an ordinary blacksmith's son caught in conflict. Authenticity is incredible. No magic, pure medieval reality. Combat feels like actual sword fighting. Saving is limited, so mistakes matter. No magic solutions. Side quests are complex with moral ambiguity. This is immersion meaning something real. A turn-based RPG from Fool's Theory, a studio headed by a former Witcher 3 developer who helped with Baldur's Gate 3 development. This game offered a gem of a story that went way under the radar. You're Wiktor Szulski, a thaumaturge in 1905 Warsaw commanding spirits called Salators. The setting is phenomenally researched. Your choices genuinely shape the narrative. You interact with historical figures like Rasputin. The magic system is completely fresh. The voice acting is phenomenal. This flew under the radar, but it's one of 2024's best RPGs. Everyone talks about Baldur's Gate 3, but ignores this gem. Sunset Overdrive was a minor success at release, selling 1.9 million copies, but because it was only available on Xbox, it had limited reach. Now that the game is available on Steam, it's much more accessible than it used to be, and it's overdue to get the credit it's always deserved. You're a customizable character fighting aliens in a vibrant, colorful Sunset City. The traversal is incredible. Wall running, grind rails, spring jumps, weapons are absurdly fun. The humor is everywhere. The tone is refreshingly upbeat compared to grimdark games. This Xbox exclusive deserved mainstream recognition, finally getting Steam release in recent years. Mankind Divided gives players freedom like few games can. It's smart, stylish, and deeply replayable. If you're into tactical creativity and cyberpunk tension, this one deserves a spot in your library. You're Adam Jensen, navigating a cyberpunk prog with augmentations allowing countless approaches to objectives. Stealth, hacking, combat, every playstyle is viable. The world feels reactive to your choices. The story explores discrimination against augmented humans. The level design encourages experimentation. This game was overshadowed by bigger releases, but it's genuinely phenomenal, criminally underrated. One of the finest examples of action games. The Nemesis system, where enemies remember you and the outcomes of previous encounters have consequences dozens of hours later, makes Shadow of Mordor really special. It was immediately apparent this game was cooking with special sauce. You're hunting Sauron's commanders in Mordor with freedom in approach. Stealth, combat, powers, multiple approaches work. The Nemesis system creates organic, dynamic gameplay where enemies develop grudges. Combat feels incredible. The story uses Tolkien's universe creatively. This game invented a mechanic that changed the industry. A masterpiece in VFX, gameplay mechanics, and visual design. You literally are the road warrior, filling your car with fuel and customizing it with endless upgrades. The hand-to-hand system features a fluid, bone-breaking counter system with brutal finishers and shotgun action. The Wasteland is absolutely gorgeous. Vehicle combat is phenomenal. The story about survival and redemption is compelling. The game released during a crowded window and got lost, but it's genuinely one of the best action games ever made. If you haven't played it, you're missing out on pure automotive mayhem. A
narrative action RPG where every choice about who to spare or feast upon permanently changes the city's fate and difficulty, combining a scalpel with fangs. You're Dr. Jonathan Reed, a war doctor turned vampire in 1918 London during the Spanish flu pandemic. Feed on innocence to grow stronger, but their absence twists the world around you. The choice to kill or spare NPCs has genuine weight. Districts change based on who you eliminate. The story explores what it means to become a monster. The moral ambiguity stays with you. This game deserved way more attention than it received. Arcane at its best, combining system-driven, immersive sim gameplay with a unique and fascinating story setup. Excellent presentation and style, along with fantastic dialogue and character performances, makes Deathloop one of the most innovative games in years. You're Colt Vaughn trapped in a time loop on Blackreef Island, and your job is to kill 8 targets called Visionaries in a single in-game day to break the cycle. The gunplay feels crisp, melee assassinations are brutal yet satisfying, and slides feel fluid and responsive. The level design is filled with secrets, hidden routes, and locked doors. The further you get, the more satisfying it becomes putting together your puzzle, until finally you have a finished plan assembled dozens of routes to kill your targets. Masterpiece.
A brutal deconstruction of modern war shooters that turns every firefight into a moral gut punch and forces you to face the cost of war. This scans among the true hidden gems of gaming, blending sharp, relentless combat with an unsettling look at war. It's a story that stays with you long after credits roll. You're Captain Martin Walker, sent to post-environmental catastrophe Dubai with an elite Delta Force team. As the story progresses, Walker's sanity deteriorates as he experiences hallucinations and realizes the horrors of war. The story is incredible. It's layered like an onion. Each layer peeled moves you closer to the center. The narrative doesn't give a great first impression, but it's absolutely worth experiencing for the storytelling alone. This game proves games are art,